There's a muffled static noise on the glass pane TV as the female news anchor starts talking about the latest events in her slightly shrill voice that everyone on the station is used to. Now, as you're staring out into the abyss of Thasset, just remember, tonight is New Year's Eve, and tomorrow is the beginning of the year 6718. We all remember the tragedy that befell our pioneer planet and humanity's cradle, Terra. The program is interrupted by Carvin's voice. He says, "Yeah, tragedy, huh? More like massacre. The BGC decimated that place's core till the crust collapsed." "Dad!" Elvin snapped, her tone sharp as she glanced at the kids sprawled on the floor nearby. "Can you not with that conspiracy nonsense around them? I've told you 100 times already." Madeline, lounging on the couch with a mug of synth coffee cradled in his hands, gave a lazy shrug. "Oh, come on, let him talk, El. When's the last time we actually heard one of Carvin's war stories without you jumping in?" Elvin huffed, her hand hovering near the sound dampener on the wall before dropping with a sigh. "Fine, whatever. Go on, old man. Spin your dangerous little tale about Terra. Just keep it quick." Carvin cleared his throat with a theatrical rumble, shooting her a sidelong look. "Thanks, Madeline. Nice to know someone's got manners around here. Elvin, you could learn a thing or two." "Jesus, Dad, just get on with it," she muttered, crossing her arms but staying put. All right. So it was me and my buddy Sicky," Carvin began, settling into his chair with a creak. "We just slipped past enemy lines fighting for the Allied Planetary Coalition Force, APCF, back when it meant something. Just a scrappy little rebellion against a beast of a force. This was before they rolled out those planet wreckers, mind you. Planet wreckers were 27 kilometers long, 12 kilometers wide, 4.3 kilometers tall, rectangular cuboid vessels. They were first instilled in the main BGC fleet in 6680. They were capable of carrying a crew of 330,000 members and boasted a large anti-organics beam that disrupted the electrons in carbon, turning them into positrons, rendering a planet lifeless after 4 hours of exposure to the beam. "Boy, those things hit like a sledgehammer," he continued, his voice picking up steam. "Wipe out every living thing, leave the rocks and metal for BGC to scoop up. Anyway, me and Sicky were pinned down by a busted keelback skimmer. 10 bogies on our left, 3 on our right. We figured the 3 had a better angle, so we took them out first." Rumble. The story halted as a faint tremor shook the room. Carvin frowned, brushing it off. "Anyway," rumble. Louder this time, followed by distant screams that pierced the station's hum. Calvin and Ambry stand up and look around for the source of screams. The one on Calvin's left eye and the 4 on Ambry's right eye shimmering in the dim light. Calvin, looking nervous, asked, "What the hell is happening out there?" Then, all of a sudden, boom. A loud explosion could be heard coming from about 200 feet away, followed by the screams of their dying neighbors and the sound of shattering glass in their home from the shockwave. All they could hear was the ringing coming from their ears. When sound came back, Ambry's piercing screams tore through the smoky air, her small body trembling in a red plaid shirt and denim jeans as she watched the ravenous flames reduce her best friend's house to a heap of glowing red ashes. The vibrant home, where she'd spent countless afternoons giggling over games and secrets, was now a ghostly skeleton crumbling before her eyes, and the sight ripped a jagged hole through her heart. Tears streamed down her face, cutting trails through the ash that dusted her cheeks as she lunged for Elvine, her tiny hands seizing her mother's pant leg in a desperate grip. "Mommy, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?" she sobbed, her voice breaking into a frantic, mournful refrain that echoed the crackling roar of the fire. The acrid stench of charred wood and melted memories choked her lungs, each breath a shuddering gasp of grief and terror. Elvin dropped to her knees, pulling Ambry close, her own face etched with anguish, as she whispered, "We'll make it through, sweetheart, I promise." But the words felt thin against the weight of the loss settling into Ambry's bones, the unraveling of their fragile world now mirrored in the smoldering ruins before them. Madeline jumps up, his face tight with urgency. "We gotta get out of here, fast. Find somewhere safe first, got it?" He turns to Calvin, his voice softening but still edged with worry. "Cal, if you and Ambry get split up from us, use this, okay?" He hands over a small black box and a holster. Inside, a sleek SLR 270 pulses faintly. "Got it," Calvin says, standing tall. The family starts heading out the door into a destroyed, once bustling metropolis. Thousands of BGC vessels can be seen doing bombing runs. Biologically and cybernetically enhanced soldiers sully the streets, killing millions. They come out to see their home being decimated in front of them. The family stood frozen, their eyes sweeping across the Grand Bazaar, a place once alive with the pulse of commerce and community, now reduced to a haunting ruin. Shattered stalls, once laden with vibrant goods, lay scattered like broken toys, their twisted metal and splintered wood mingling with the debris that carpeted the ground. The air, thick with the acrid scent of smoke and charred remains, hung heavy in the silence. No more the clamor of voices or the rhythm of trade, just an eerie stillness that stung their senses. Turning their gaze to the grand balustrade, they faced their home, a sanctuary of memories now crumbled into chaos. Its walls gaped open, fractured and fallen, revealing a wreckage of upended furniture and scattered belongings, fragments of their lives buried in dust. The devastation struck them like a physical blow, their shock and grief intertwining with a profound sense of displacement, as the familiar world they'd cherished lay irrevocably torn apart before them. Before they could catch their breath, two BGC soldiers loomed in front of them, their dark green armor glinting like shattered glass under the flickering streetlights. Tiny blue flecks shimmered across the crystalline plates, and black hexagonal bands ran along their arms, high-tech gear that screamed BGC's cold efficiency. Their visors hid any trace of humanity, and when one spoke, his voice buzzed, robotic and flat. "Get back inside. Now." Calvin's hand shot to the gun at his hip, the grip biting into his sweaty palm. His heart pounded like one of his dad's patched-up skimmers, revving too hard and ready to blow. But Madeline grabbed his wrist, his voice a harsh whisper. "Don't do it, Cal. Not yet." A third figure stepped forward, a tall, wiry man with a lieutenant's stripes on his uniform. His face was weathered, eyes sharp and unfeeling. "You listen to me and no one has to die," he said, his tone clipped and commanding. "Stevenson, Barnaby, hold off." But Ambry couldn't hold back. Her small frame trembled, her eyes red from tears and rage. She'd just seen her best friend's house reduced to ash. And now this. "I hate you," she screamed, her voice cracking. "You killed them. You killed my friends." Before anyone could react, she darted forward, slamming her foot into the lieutenant's knee and smacking his leg with wild, furious slaps. The lieutenant's jaw tightened. "Little brat," he muttered, barely audible. Then, louder, "Barnaby, grab her." "Yes, sir." Barnaby's armored hand clamped around Ambry's arm. A faint click whir sounded as a ratchet in his hand tightened with her every thrash, drawing a sharp yelp from her throat. "Let her go!" Madeline lunged, voice ragged with panic, but Stevenson shoved him back, pinning him hard against the wall. "She's just a kid. Let her go, damn it." Elvin stood rooted to the spot, her breath shallow, eyes locked on Ambry. Her hands shook, but her feet wouldn't move. She was trapped in her own head, watching her baby girl suffer until something snapped. A scream tore out of her, raw, jagged like it had been ripped from her soul. Ambry kept fighting, her cries piercing the chaos as Barnaby dragged her to the wall. "Put her there," the lieutenant ordered, his voice ice cold. Barnaby slammed her against the concrete, unfazed by her struggles. Matlin's pleas turned desperate, his voice breaking. "Please, she's scared. Just let her go. She didn't mean it." He clawed at Stevenson's grip, helpless. The lieutenant, Gouldine, he'd call himself later, glanced at Elvine, her scream still echoing. His lip curled, a flicker of contempt crossing his face. "Sorry, folks. Orders are orders. She's an example now." Calvin's mind spun, a mess of fear and adrenaline. He couldn't lose her. He'd always protected her, ever since she was born. Matlin's shout cut through the haze. "Calvin, the SLR, use it!" Calvin fumbled for the plasma gun, his thumb brushing the faded blue stripe on its grip. Dread churned in his gut. "Dad, I can't... Now, damn it!" Matlin roared. "They're gonna kill her, Cal. Your sister. Don't you get it?" His fingers slipped on the holster, panic making him clumsy. The engravings flashed in his mind. "Hope this makes up for the time lost, Calvin. Love, Padro." A bittersweet sting from a man long gone. "I'm trying," he choked out, yanking the gun free. He raised it, hands shaking, aiming at Gouldine. The world slowed, the air heavy with the faint electric whiff of antimatter. His vision blurred with tears, locking onto the lieutenant's stony face. Then a shot cracked the silence, not his. A spray of red hit the wall and Ambry's tiny body crumpled, lifeless. The clink of a casing hitting the ground rang in his ears. Time stopped. Calvin's breath caught, his mind blank. Matlin let out a guttural howl, pure fury and grief. Elvin sank to her knees, her sobs muffled against the dirt. Across the street, Carvin stared, mouth open, frozen in disbelief. Reality slammed back, and Calvin's rage erupted. He fired twice, plasma bolts sizzling through the air. They sparked off Gouldine's armor, useless. The lieutenant brushed his shoulder, smirking. "Lieutenant Gouldine, consider this a favor. You're in shock. Don't test me again." Gouldine turned, his soldiers trailing him, leaving the family with Ambry's body. The faint 4 on her face faded as her life slipped away, a silent call to the APCF. Minutes later, their ships roared through the BGC blockade, but it was too late. For Calvin, Matlin, and Elvin, the world was already broken. The Silver Crescent, a sleek CBF 140 transport, settled onto the cracked ground near the distress signal source with a low hum. The ramp dropped, revealing Ambry's family, gathered around her lifeless body, their grief thick in the air. A young guy stepped out, tall, broad-shouldered, decked in blue-plated armor that soaked up the faint light. A few pattern patches marked him as an APCF Et Fleet ensign, call sign Amber 47, though everyone just called him Amber. At 23, he looked barely older than Padro, but he carried himself like he'd seen too much already. "Staller, Provden, split up, check for survivors," he barked, voice sharp. "I've got the family." His boots hit the pavement as he strode toward them, eyes locking on the dark smear across Ambry's face. He zeroed in on Carvin fast. Carvin glanced up, a faint grin breaking through the gloom. "Holy hell, Amber? An ensign now? Look at you, man." Amber's face stayed hard, no time for reunions. "Not now, Carvin. One of the implants crapped out. We need to move. Now." Carvin pulled him aside, voice dropping. "Yeah, I figured. I rigged her chip to ping if the BGC showed. How long we got before it blows? Amber's jaw tightened. You didn't check her? What the hell were you thinking? I didn't think the compound would hit her blood this fast. Carvin shot back, defensive. Thought we had a window. We don't. Amber yanked a Vac S, some kind of vacuum syringe, off his belt, its metal glinting as he knelt by Ambry. His hands were steady but quick, sliding the needle into her skin. He hit a button and dark blood crept into the tube, the light on the side flicking from blue to red as it filled. Let's see how screwed we are. He stood, already moving toward the ship. The family trailed him, footsteps heavy, like they thought they were about to jet off. Inside, he jammed the Vac ES into the analyzer, the screen flaring to life. 64% saturation, he muttered. 5 minutes tops, or this place is dust. Calvin's head snapped up, eyes wide. Wait, what? 5 minutes? Whose blood? Amber shot him a look. Your sister's, kid. And yeah, we're all gone if we don't fix this. Madeline stepped in, voice tight. Ship's locked down. BGC must have hacked the gravity fields. Nothing's taking off. Great, Amber said, grim. So we're stuck, unless we break loose. Carvin rubbed his face, thinking fast. Hold up. If her blood's loaded with that stuff, can't we use it? Blow the anchors or something? No time to pull it clean, Amber said, shaking his head. But if we can crank enough pressure... He trailed off, gears turning. Calvin, slumped in the corner after Amber's snap, piped up quiet. Like a gun. Amber raised an eyebrow. What? Like those old Terra relics? Yeah, Calvin said, a flicker of hope in his voice. Bullets hit hard. Dad's got one, an old revolver. Madeline nodded. Colt 9mm, still got rounds. Amber exhaled, decisive. All right, hand it over. I'll take it to the AFGs and blast us free. Madeline passed him the revolver, its worn grip heavy with age. Amber loaded it quick, 6 rounds, each clicking into place, then grabbed an EVA suit from the rack. As he sealed the helmet with a sharp hiss, turned to them. Lock the airlock. Don't open it till I say. He tossed Madeline a quant-com, a little quantum transmitter. Keep this on. You'll need it. Carvin snorted. Yeah, 'cause a vacuum's gonna save us from a shockwave tearing ass at half-light speed. Amber ignored him, clanking toward the hatch in the bulky suit. He paused, glancing back at Carvin and Madeline with a faint, tired smile, then stepped out. The door sealed behind him with a pressurized hiss, and the family braced themselves, the weight of it all sinking in.